Welcome to online lectures by CA Studies. For more lectures online, please do visit castudies.lk.
Hi guys, so today we will be starting on simple interest calculations and compound interest calculations. I hope you all are now clear of what is time value of money. So you all know by now that time value of money can be caused by interest rates as well. So in simple interest and compound interest, we will be finding what will be our interest value at the end of the investment value. And so first we need to identify what is meant by simple interest and what is meant by compound interest. Simple interest means your interest percentage is calculated upon the original investment value, which means the percentage is applied to the original investment, not to the cumulative investment, which is interest plus capital. No. But compound interest means the interest is calculated on the cumulative investment value, which includes capital plus interest. So let's look at it in a tabular method, and we have a formula also to calculate the interest using future values. Let's go through right now, okay? So you have simple interest in this way, compound interest. Let's take the first example where interest has been calculated at 10% per annum on original investment value of 10,000 rupees. Here it's also the same. Find the year end or investment period end investment value. So first of all, put your years over here. Okay, year 1, year 2. So it's a 3-year investment that they have mentioned. So we put up to year 3. Under compound interest also do the same. So put the headings beginning value. Okay, I'll write the full formula, full name, beginning value, interest, end value. Same here, beginning value, interest, end value. So, in the start of the period, we have invested 1,000 rupees. So, what will be our beginning value? 1,000 rupees. So, you write 1,000 here, which is starting in year 1. Then, for the period year 1, they say it's 10% interest per annum. So, you multiply 1,000 by 10%. Answer is 100. Then what will be your cumulative end value? It is 1,000 plus 100, which is 1,100. Alright. So now let's go to the second year. In second year, what will be your beginning value? Now you are in 2019, let's say this is 2019. So in 2019 you put 1,000 rupees into a fixed deposit account, which is a 1-year fixed deposit, and they paid you 10% interest. Then finally at the end of 1 year you have 1100 value. Now you're in 2020. What is the, now let's say you didn't take the interest from the bank. You said just keep it in the bank itself, I don't want in cash. Then what happens? The interest stays in the bank, so your value will remain still in your bank at 1100. So the beginning value of year 2 will be 1100. So you have to write 1100 here, which is ending value of year 1 should be the beginning value of year 2. End of year 1. Then what will be your interest under simple interest method? I said interest is calculated based on the original investment value. So, what is the original investment value here? 1000 rupees. So, for every year, our interest will be calculated as 1000 multiplied by 10%. So, you get 100. 1000 multiplied by 10%, 100. Then what's the end value? Investment beginning value plus interest. Now you have 1200 rupees in your account. Let's assume you didn't take the interest again. You kept it in the bank itself. Then 1200 will be available in year 3 also. So that will be your beginning value of year 3. So you put 1200 here. And what is the rule for simple interest calculation? Interest must be calculated based on the original investment value. The original investment value is 1000. Interest is 10%. So what will be your interest? 100. No matter how many years, rule for simple interest is original investment value multiplied by interest rate. So first we should identify what is the amount we put into the bank account initially. That value multiplied by the interest rate per year will give you the annual interest rate. Okay, so 1000 will be 1000 multiplied by 10%. Which is 100, and the total will become 1300. So now let's say this is in we'll give them genuine years 2021. So as at December 2021, your investment value will be 1300. Okay, but we want the interest rate. You can do two things, two ways. One, from this table you can add the interest of each year. So it will be 100 plus 100 plus 100, which will be 300. That 300 will be your interest. Interest for the entire investment period. That means for the entire 3-year period. A second method is you have the investment end value as at year 3. You also have the investment beginning value. So, isn't this formula correct? Interest equals investment end value minus initial investment value. It is correct, right? So, the difference will be your interest rate. 1300 minus 1000 will give you 300 rupees, which is the same. So this is how you calculate simple interest in a tabular method. This is known as the tabular method. Okay. So let's take a look at how to create formula for this simple interest calculation. Without doing the table, let's see how to do the formula. So in your exam, you do not have to do the table. You can straight away apply the formula, which is S equals x plus nRx. In chapter 2 I mentioned if three components are represented like this without a sign between them, what will be the sign? It is assumed to be a multiplication. Okay. So basically this part will be n multiplied by r multiplied by x plus x, which first of all we should solve this part, then only we have to add, because it's the bracket, and then only we have to add x and get x. Now S means final investment value. Which is 1300 via the tabular method. So you write 1300. Now I am just trying to tell you the meaning of each of these components. Okay. X equals original or initial investment value. Original or initial value. How much it is? It was 1000 rupees. So it is 1000. And n equals number of periods during the investment period. That means the question will give you how long your investment will stay in the bank. That number of periods is what is called n. So it can be in years, months or days. Alright. So remember, it is the number of periods which can be in days, months or years. In this question, they have given it as 3 years that the entire investment will be available in the bank. So we could use 3. Alright. Then the R. R is interest rate per period. Meaning it can be days, months or years. Okay. There is a new point that we have to learn when it comes to this formula. That is, this N and R in the equation. N and R. These two must be for the same period. That means if they have given in the question n equal number of years, then R interest rate also must be per year. because the period is also given in years. But if the a number of periods are given in months, then R must be also rate per month. Okay, it's never per year. So whatever here should be here as well. N and R must be of the same period type, either days or months or years. Okay, this is the point where children make mistake because because the question sometimes give you the monthly interest rate, but the investment period they give as in years. So example, if we take investment period is 3 years, but they gave 10% interest rate per month. So this means you have to write the equation as where n will be equal to 3 years, you could say, and r should be equal to the rate per year. But the rate per year we cannot find in this situation because they have given the rate per month. Then we can convert the number of years into months in that case. So 3 years into 12 months per year is 36 months for 3 years. So in your formula you could therefore write n equals 36 and r equals 10% because it is already for a month only. Alright. Another scenario where we could find the rate per year we will be learning in the next chapter, which is on effective annual rates. So that is applicable for compound interest rates, not for simple interest, but this is the meaning of it. What else? Yeah. So please make, and also if they have given 3 months instead of years, they gave you 3 months, and this one they gave 10% per year. Now you can't use 10% straight away and you can't use 3 months straight away. We know, so if this is 3 months, we no need to adjust this, we can straight away put months here, it's fine. How can we convert an annual interest rate into a monthly interest rate? That is by rate per month. Take down this formula, okay? Rate per month equal annual rate divided by 12 months. Fine. So annual rate is 10%, divide by 12, that will give your monthly rate. So this will be the rate per month formula. So in your exam, if they give you the annual rate and give the number of years, a number of periods in months, you could keep it as it is 3 months and divide the rate by 12 months. Or you could convert 3 months into years. How? If 1 year equals 12 months, then 3 months means 3 divided by 12. How many? Quarter. So this could be written in the formula as quarter, and you could use the 10% per year rate because you have converted 3 months into years. This is so 1 quarter years. Alright. So what you should ensure that the base of N and R, which is the number of periods and the interest rate for that period of both must be the same. That's the thing. So when you read the questions, first of all see what they have said about interest rate per annum, or is it per day or per month, highlight it. Then see the investment period, whether it is for a number of years will the investment last, or for days or for months, you have to check. And accordingly try to make it's similar. The period should be similar. If it's years for n, it should be interest rate per year as well. It should be year. Either you could adjust to anything, but the thing is these two must be equal. Alright. So if you are to apply to this formula, the above figures, S equals x plus nRx. X is the initial value of 1000 rupees. N is the number of years they have given. Now I want therefore the interest rate per year, not per month or anything. It should be per year. So N is 3, R is 10% per year and X is 1000. Okay, 1000 plus it will be 300 over here. 10% into 1000 multiplied by 3 will give you 1300. So for your exam, if they are, now they will ask the interest value. They will not ask the end value. So if you are asked the interest value, then find interest as end value minus initial value. Again, which is end value is 1300 minus 1000 equals to 300. Another method is in the formula itself, if you see this part is the interest portion, isn't it? It's the interest portion. This is the capital portion, the initial amount. So you could straight away use this formula to find the interest for 3 years. And if you are to find the interest for 2 years, if they ask 2-year interest, then simply change n into 2. Because our point is, no matter how many it is, the period referred to by the interest rate and the n must be the same. That is the key criteria for this formula and any formula. Okay? Because you can't multiply a monthly rate by annual years. It's not logical, right? It isn't logical. Okay? Alright. So with that, we finish off simple interest calculations. One more point I missed to tell you all, that is, this entire calculation of simple interest using table and the formula method only is applicable to scenarios where the interest rate is fixed. Okay, the interest rate must be fixed. Remember this very, very well, because there are two types of formulas which we will learn in next. But just may remember that this formula is applicable only when interest rates are fixed. So I'll write fixed interest rate. Fixed interest throughout the investment period. That means if they say in the question that the investment will stay for 3 years and interest rate is 10% per annum, fixed for 3 years. They didn't say it will change. They didn't mention the word change. That means 10% is applicable for the entire investment period, which is 3 years. But if the investment period is 3 years, but interest rate for first year is only 10% and next 2 years it is 20%, then there's a change in interest for which you cannot apply this formula or this tabular method. This is not applicable for a change in interest rate. So please remember that carefully, okay? Also, next we will learn about compound interests, where we will assess, just check how to calculate compound interest in similar ways, but also remember it is under the fixed interest theory, not applicable for changing interest. We assume in these calculations that the interest rate is fixed. Okay, so yeah. Alright, so let's start for compound interest, how to calculate the final investment value and the interest value. So as usual, imagine this way, we go to the bank and we invest 1000 rupees to our fixed deposit account. So bank receives 1000 rupees straight away, which will be the beginning value in year 1. Okay. Then at the end of the year, they will give us interest rate of 10%. So 10%, since there's 1000 rupees only, we multiply it by on the original investment value for the first year and get the interest value, which is 1100. The ending value in year 1, we didn't take the interest away, or like interest is anyway in the bank. It doesn't matter any type you assume, your beginning value anyway, no matter you withdraw interest or not, the value of your investment remains at 1100 at the end of year 1. That's what you should remember. So 1100 will be your beginning value in year 2. Okay, now comes the difference between interest calculation of compound and simple interest. What we did with simple interest is that we multiply the original value by the interest percentage and got your interest per year. But in compound interest, the rule is interest must be calculated on the compounded value of investment. Compounded value of investment equals original investment value plus interest. Compound investment value equals original investment value plus interest. Okay. So the original value plus interest is the end value. Therefore, compound interest is calculated on top of the compounded value. Interest rate. So the rate here is 10% still, because we are calculating this in a fixed interest rate scenario. But the investment value we are going to use to multiply is 1100. The ending value of year 1. So 1100 multiplied by 10% will give you 110 rupees, and the new ending value will be 1210. Okay. So in simple interest, what you did was you straight away you took the end value just like you did there, but you multiplied, you got the interest based on the original value. But in compound scenarios, we take based on the last year's ending value. Now, second year's ending value is 1210. That will become the beginning value of year 3. So 1210 will come here. So 1210 multiplied by 10% will give you 121. 121 plus 1210. So this is the key. It will be 1331. So you see, investment value using a compound interest mechanism will give you 1331 as the end value. whereas simple interest calculations will provide an investment value of 1300 in this scenario. So you see, it's different. So make sure that interest per year is calculated based on the compounded value, which is interest plus capital on yearly basis. So the same thing as we did here, we can put it to a formula, which is S equals X bracket 1 plus R to the power n. Now, I have told you all in chapter 2 of equations where brackets without any sign before it is assumed to have a sign called multiplication. So, this will be looked as x multiplied by 1 plus r to the power n. So, in this case, s is the final value, same as for simple interest rate, same interpretations. Final value is 1331. X will be your original value, which is 1000. Okay, 1000, and 1 plus R will be your same thing, interest rate per period, and n will be the number of periods. In this case 3 years, therefore interest rate also must be in years. So this should, anyway they have given for 1 year's interest, in a yearly basis only they have quoted the interest, so no problem, 10% per annum we could use straight away. So if you substitute the figures to the formula, S equal 1000 multiplied by 1 plus 10% to the power 3. The answer will be 1331. Same thing. Okay. Okay. So when it, just a small quick thing about this 10%, how you calculate this part. Now 10% means 10 divided by 100. You might have learnt in school, if a number is just there, it means there is a decimal point after it, and only it is there. So if you divide 10 by 100, then you move your decimal point backwards. That is the rule for divisions by hundreds and tens, or by the number of zeros available. So, in this case, first of all we need to see how many times we have to move the decimal place. We have to see how many zeros is being divided, is dividing. That means how many zeros does the denominator have. The denominator has 2 zeros, so we move the decimal place to 1 and 2 places. So if the decimal place is here, so decimal place, and then only we have 1 and 0. Remember, any amount before or after the decimal place, like with any no amount, if there is no amount, it means it has 0 before it. So it will be called 0.10. Anywhere we never pronounce a decimal like 0.10. We don't say 0.375. We don't read decimals likewise. We read decimals as 0.10 or 0.375. That's the way we read decimals. So this will be read as 0.10. I have told you all 0 after the decimal point is not valid. Okay. So you could write this as 0.1. So this part will look like 1 plus 0.1 to the power 3. So this will become 1.1 to the power 3. Okay, that's for your understanding. But this is how we calculate compounded interest in a scenario where interest rates are fixed. Remember that very well. So, simple interest calculation and compound interest calculation for both the whatever we have learned so far, the interest rate will remain fixed. That is the only assumption we make. Fine. So, and the other thing to remember is the n and r in the equation must be relating to the same number of periods. Which means if n is for number of years, then r also must be for a particular year only. It should not be given if they give monthly rate, then we should use the annual rate. We should convert it into an annual rate. Or else we have to make the number of years into months. So that n is also months and r is also in months. Okay. That's the most important point when it comes to these two formulas. Okay. So we have finished fixed interest rate calculation. Now let's go to changing interest rate calculations for the same scenarios.
Thank you for watching the video. Stay tuned with castudies.lk for more lectures online.